Got up nice and early, got good parking spots?
Yeah.
All right, excellent. I'm not sure about the pink camera. It's not you.
It's my mom's camera.
Does anyone have any questions for me to start out with? Well, I feel warm and walk along.
Comment for you. You haven't changed. Like, you still
I'm just an all right now.
Well, that's good. I have a painting in the attic that ages for me. And I did that, the Celebrity Fit Club. And I don't know if you guys got to see that or not. I played the bad guy on that. And it's all scripted, but everyone thought I was mean after that. You know, so I'm into professional wrestling as well, which is weird because, you know, you got your
Nice.
bad guys. And everybody launched me with the bad guys right away. I said, hey, I played Screech for 10 years. I was in high school for 10 years. I played a bad guy for 8 weeks, and my job was to out crazy Gary Busey, which in itself is a task. But I pulled it off, and then everyone thought, oh, well, he's a jerk. We can't approach him. I'm really not mean. I'm okay. I'm approachable. But I'm still not sure about the picture. Is it really your mom's?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Seriously, it is. No, it's not my dad's, no.
So Dustin, when you were about to walk out from the Hulk Hogan's celebrity, was that real or was that, like, were you really pissed off or, you know?
Well, you know, TV is what it is. You know, there's always smoke and mirrors, but all I can say about the wrestling aspect of it is, you know, there's always something entertaining going on. Whether you're getting slammed in the ring or whether you're doing the slamming or whether you're getting in a beef with somebody. Usually what happens is something happens off stage, you know, you get in some sort of altercation with somebody and then they say, look, you know, as a gentleman thing to do, instead of getting in a fight, you know, back here, this could be interesting. Why don't we put this in front of the cameras?
Right.
And we go out there and we work it out that way.
Right.
So it's a half and half.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's sort of a gentleman agreement, you know, like, all right, well, we have a beef, but we'll settle it
Later.
out there. Yeah, might as well. Because if something happened, if one of us is going to take some licks, you know, we might as well, you know, let the audience be a part of it as well.
Right, right. Thank you.
Anybody else? Or?
Do you still see and talk to any of the old cast members from Saved by the Bell?
No, I live in, I don't know if you're familiar with the layout of the states or whatever, but I live in Wisconsin.
Okay.
And I moved, I lived in LA. Oh, excellent, yeah. I lived in, that's weird. Are you a Packers fan?
Yes, I am, and so is he.
Oh, okay. You're not going to be putting on the cheese hats, are you? Okay. I live in Wisconsin, and still, I'm embarrassed about the cheese hats.
Okay.
It's just not fashionable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the States is unique because I mean you can audition in New York. It's heavily strong with acting, and then most of the work comes out of either New York or LA. And Chicago's pretty strong too, but not the same as New York or LA. And I did LA for 25 years, and I moved about 9 years ago to Milwaukee, and that puts me like an hour and a half jump to New York. So now I get to do the New York circuit and Chicago circuit, which, you know, I'll probably spend the next 25 years out there. So when I'm 50, I'll move back to California and try my luck there. Saved by the Bell, the prison years probably at that point. I'll come back as the janitor. Yeah. Anyone else? What about you, Super Mario Brothers 3?
I don't know. How did you get involved with Saved by the Bell? It was pretty young when you started. Right?
Yeah, I was a fetus when I started, actually. I was 11 years old, 11 to 21. We did 10 years, 260 episodes.
Yeah.
And we started, I mean, we were the first live-action sitcom for kids on Saturday morning. So it was weird because my generation, I was born in '77. I came out when Star Wars came out. So I'm excited, you know, going in the convention hall. Walked in Peter Mayhew. I'm like, oh, Chewbacca, you know. Pretty exciting. And then, oddly enough, I'll take a side note here. This is my first Canadian Comic-Con or convention, and I did the San Diego Comic-Con, and doing the States, there's a big one in Chicago and everything else. The weirdest thing I've ever seen at a convention, and this is saying something. I've seen some pretty weird things, but I saw 2 Chewbaccas, identical, wonderful costumes. I mean, movie quality. These guys were right on. I mean, the masks were they did all the I forget what it's called, but the makeup where it makes it just stick to the skin and it's like around the eyes. It was really, really well done. These guys did the old Looney Tunes thing where like they walked into each other and they started doing the mirror image of each other. It's just kind of cool to see, hey, 2 Chewbaccas, and they started doing the thing. And then later I saw them arguing. And I mean, they were arguing like, as regular guys. They weren't like, yeah, so that was a good one. Doing it? Yeah, they weren't doing that. That would have been more entertaining. But no, they were getting into it. And then later I saw the mask come off and they were rolling around and security came running by. We've got 2 Chewbaccas, rolling around in aisle 400, So that was pretty interesting. But Yeah, what was the question? No,
How'd you get started?
no, I'm just kidding. Being in the business, I've been in the business 26 years, and doing a lot of auditions, you never know what you're going to get. And so, coming from my generation, Looney Tunes was, the big thing on Saturday morning. It was like Sesame Street and Looney Tunes, stuff like that. And I mean, how do you compete with, the Smurfs or Bugs Bunny? I mean, over 60 years of popularity, and that's what I grew up with. And we were the first live-action sitcom for kids. So we came out, and the ratings bashed us pretty big at first. They were like, "Oh, this isn't going to make it. It's campy, it's terrible, it's kind of cheesy," and we knew that, it was for that young audience, and the audience just started liking it. Then eventually we started taking on, bigger and better cartoons that were trying to topple us at the time, and the audience just kept liking it, and we just kept getting better and better in the ratings. Eventually we went up against Full House, which was the big deal, like it was, Screech versus the Olsen twins. And we had the same agent, so my agent was happy either way. She was making money no matter what, And of course, in the long run, I became, recognizable worldwide, but the Olsen twins became billionaires. So, if we could switch, I'll be the Olsen triplet. Yeah, I think it's a weird process because you go in an audition, you don't know what you're going to get. Getting the show was the hardest part. And we did 6 auditions. There was one initial audition with the casting director, then 5 callbacks. So we came back, and each time we kept coming back was fewer and fewer selections. At first it was like 40 Zacks, and then there were 20, and then 10, and then 5, and then 4, and then 2, and it came down to a point where we didn't really know what was happening because most of the time you audition for something, you get a call back, you either get the job or not. This six auditions total. I mean, they went through, I think, 5,000 people to Screech, and I was the only one that kept coming back. So that was pretty cool, Zach almost was a brunette. And then they ended up picking Mark Palgasso, which of course is a brunette, but he was bleaching his hair at the time, so yeah, he came in as a blonde. Sun in, very popular at the time. You said that like it was reminiscing.
No,
Used to be a blonde, so you're saying? Just the eyebrows?
Yeah.
Team Hogan? But no, the first audition was casting director, and the second, we came back, there was the director, then there were the writers, and then the producers, the executive producers. Then it was the whole network. When it was the whole network, it's the weirdest thing because they're all the money behind the show, but they didn't really have the humor behind, they were all suits just standing there like this. You're supposed to be being funny, and at that point they were pairing us up. So Mark Palgasso eventually got the part of Zach, and I both were auditioning together for the last 2 or 3 auditions. So I would go in with the guy with brunette hair, who I can't remember his name because he didn't get the part. And then, of course, Mark Paul, who got the part, we just kept going back in together. And, it was pretty neat, because obviously the chemistry worked. So I don't know if it was luck, if it was I was lucky to get the part on my own, or if it was just lucky enough that Mark Paul was the right selection for his role, and we were both paired together so often. Yeah, it just happened to work. But it's how the business works. You never know what you're going to get. So, the hardest part for me is that if I like physical comedy, I like doing the rubbery face and the goofy falls and stuff. I like the comedic timing. I'm a big fan of that. I studied a lot of things like Buster Keaton and Harold Lloyd and stuff like that, and Dick Van Dyke even, things like that. But the problem is that like Jim Carrey, he created characters on his own for a sketch show. He did he didn't live in color, and everyone got to know him that way, Fire Marshal Bill and all this stuff. So when he does something goofy or rubbery, it's Jim Carrey, the Ace Ventura, that's Jim Carrey. In The Mask, he's basically still doing the same things, liar, liar, same things. But people go, Jim Carrey. Me, I did Screech, which wasn't my own creation. It was, NBC and Peter Engel production. Was that a BBM message? We're getting used to that out here, Yeah, I'm going to change your BBM status. Don't let me touch your phone. Talking to Screech. But I think it's weird because I don't know. I don't want to go on and on and on about it, but it's a fun business, but it's very strange because you can get typecast in one thing because I didn't create the character. If I do something rubbery or goofy or whatever else, people go, it's Screech. They only see the Screech thing, which in the industry, some people say, there was something on the internet, they said, he doesn't like being called Screech. That's not true. It's when people don't recognize you, you gotta worry. That's when people say, who are you again? Hey, wait a minute, did I see you at the mall? Did you call my gas? Well, maybe, but no, I'm an actor too.
His name is Tricky.
77.
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 His name is Tricky Ricky.
77.
His name is Tricky Ricky.
77.